In the time before memory, before kings, before the wars of men, when gods descended from the heavens and ruled the earth, there was a garden. It was there that my master and lord set into motion a destiny unseen by all. In the heart of Eden, emerald vines curl like living script and fruit the color of blood and honey sags from ancient boughs. Adam and Eve dwelled within what the Anunnaki called the Prime Sanctuary. It was the most fertile stretch of the garden, soft, shaded, and cradled by a river whose waters pulsed with bioelectric frequencies unknown to Earth. Beneath the eternal canopy, they were watched day and night, cloaked in the illusion of freedom. They were the perfect prototype pair, genetically engineered, spliced for obedience, grace, and optimal breeding. Their coupling was scheduled, performed on a soft bed of warm moss beneath the sacred tree of knowledge, surrounded by invisible sentinels and overseen by the radiant figures known as the Watchers. Every act, every touch, every breath was documented through etheric sensors embedded in the leaves. At dawn, they were separated. At dusk, brought together. At midday, they were studied by the Anunnaki. They did not speak of love, only duty. Yet one evening, as the artificial breeze whispered through the glowing trees, Adam looked up into the boughs heavy with fruit and asked in a quiet voice, "Which one do you think tastes sweetest?" Eve followed his gaze, her expression serene. She considered a cluster of crimson fruits glistening above them and answered,
"The red ones. The angels say they strengthen our blood."
Adam smiled faintly, a rare softness flickering across his carefully designed features. "I think the gold ones smell sweeter," he said, almost to himself. "Like sunlight you can hold." Eve reached out, brushing her fingertips against a golden fruit. It trembled beneath her touch, and the leaves around it seemed to pulse, sensing the disruption. She drew her hand back quickly and murmured,
"We are not permitted to eat these, only to admire."
Adam watched the golden orb sway gently in the air between them.
"Maybe one day God will let us."
His voice barely more than breath. Eve gave a small mechanical nod and lowered her gaze, though her eyes lingered longer than they should have. Above them, unseen among the canopy, the Watchers recorded every word, every glance, the subtle movements of creatures who were never meant to wonder. Across the garden, far beyond the flowering corridors and sacred groves, beyond the mist that shimmered like heat waves, was the breeding tract, what the Anunnaki called Sector Geth. It was dry, loud, and dim. Dozens, hundreds of other Adams and Eves were housed in square enclosures, their eyes sunken, their skin weathered. Here, procreation was not scheduled with ceremony. It was demanded. Whistles blew, lights flashed, the Watchers barked. Pairs were selected by genetic compatibility. Those who resisted were taken away, never seen again. The sector was sealed on all sides. Angelic sentinels, towering, reddish, glowing armored beings, stood guard at the northern and southern gates. Their eyes burned white with judgment, and their plasma-forged weapons hissed with silent menace. None were permitted to enter or leave without decree. The laboratory garden was not Eden. It was a prison in paradise. One man, an Adam like the others, dared to flee. It was just after the twilight chimes. He broke from his caged pen, scaled a section of the Eden wall, briefly breaching the electromagnetic curtain that shimmered with silent menace. His feet landed on forbidden soil. All of a sudden, a sound split the air like thunder without clouds. A winged figure descended, not like a dove, but like a sword. Reddish brilliance-plated armor, eyes white with fire. One of the angels of God at the gate. His blade, plasma and flame, sang through the air in a single arc. The Adam man made no sound. His body arched backward, cleaved cleanly in a burst of searing light. One moment whole, then smoke rising softly from the scorched imprint where he had stood. A warning, the angel intoned, voice like thunder wrapped in calm. A decree from the Lord thy God. The remaining Adams and Eves cry out in terror, their voices shattering the stillness that hangs in the air. Their screams ripple across the garden, echoing through the tangled groves of Eden. Within the prime sanctuary, Eve jolted. She had felt it, a flutter behind her eyes, a strange ache in her chest. Adamu looked up from his designated post. Another breach? Eve nodded slowly.
It always ends the same. When do you think they will learn? They fall like fruit from the trees beyond the walls.
She whispered. Above them, high in the branches of the tree, hidden in the folds of light, the angels at the gates never blinked. They did not sleep. They did not mourn. They only watched. Their gaze, constant and silent, stretched across the entirety of Eden. And so, under that eternal surveillance, the garden held its breath. Then, as if time exhaled, the stillness of past events returned days later. The late sun poured through the canopies in golden shafts, spilling light like sacred ink across the garden floor. The brother of Enlil named Enki stood silently beneath the arching limbs of a flowering tree within the Eden. His form, draped in flowing robes of indigo and silver, seemed to blend with the garden itself. His expression was unreadable, serene on the surface, but his eyes held storms. From the shadows, he observed the doings of Adam and Eve. Eve stood near the edge of Eden, her fingers gently grazing the invisible wall that pulsed with light. The boundary shimmered faintly with embedded glyphs, humming softly beneath her touch. She leaned forward, eyes wide, not with fear, but wonder. Beyond the wall stretched a wild, untamed forest. Jagged peaks pierced the sky. Strange winds carried voices of distant creatures unknown to Eden's perfection. She placed her palm against the barrier, feeling the static tingle of forbidden air. Eve whispered to herself, "What lies out there?" Her eyes followed a bird, one that had flown too close to the wall and veered away. Far from her, near the heart of the garden, Adam knelt upon a stone dais, surrounded by fragrant vines. His head bowed low, palms flat against the ground. His voice was low but fervent, reciting the daily prayer taught to him by the angels.
Lord God, Lord of sky and earth, creator of the breath within me, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
A subtle wind blew across the dais. Adam smiled, taking it as a sign of favor. From the trees, Enki watched. Two children, one reaching for meaning through obedience, the other through curiosity. He watched them as a father might watch his children playing near a cliff's edge, knowing the truth of what lay beneath, but unable, yet, to stop them. A shadow passed across his face. He stepped forward slowly, leaves crunching softly beneath his feet. Enki said to himself, "One binds himself to a lie to feel safe. The other leans toward truth, even if it burns." He looked toward the barrier, where Eve now sat cross-legged, drawing patterns in the soil. "She remembers what we tried to bury in their blood," said Enki. A golden orb floated down from above, pulsing softly, a surveillance drone, cloaked as a fruit. Enki quickly looked up at it, his gaze hardening. Enki under his breath. "I see you, brother." The orb hovered a moment longer, then darted away. Enki turned once more toward Adam and Eve of Eden. He said nothing, but in that moment, his heart decided. He would not let them live and die in ignorance, not when the flame of divinity still flickered within them. That evening, while Adam worked deep in the orchards, Eve wandered near the House of Life, a towering structure where all the prototype models of Adams and Eves were birthed. The air was warm, and for the first time, Eve felt truly alone. Until she heard footsteps.